Unit 5, Lesson 6. Okay, Skills Maintenance, page 204. Go ahead, give that page a try, and pause the video. Alright, so for skills maintenance, substitute the value for the variable in each of the expressions and evaluate the expressions. Show your work. Okay, so number 1, we got to evaluate a plus a plus a for a equals 3. So now remember, when we do this, a is equal to 3, so anytime you see a, you're replacing it with 3. So in this case, it's saying 3 plus 3 plus 3, which will give us a total of 9. Now number 2, okay, evaluate 3 times a, so when a is equal to 3. So 3 times a, which we said was 3, which will give us 9. Now, m plus m for m equals 7. You're going to do 7 plus 7, which gives us a total of 14. And then 2 times m when m is 7, which is saying 2 times 7, again, 14. Now, number 5, n plus n plus n plus n for n equals 2. So in that case, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, which will give us a total of 8. And then 5 for number 6, evaluate 4 times n when n is equal to 2, or 4 times 2, which is also equal to 8. So there's one thing I hope you guys noticed. Okay, on 3 and 4, 5 and 6, I put those in the same color. So in number 1, it was a plus a plus a, so 3 plus 3 plus 3, okay, which equals 9. And then in 2, it's 3 times 3. Okay, so we had 3 groups of 3, which added up to 9. So, and then same thing with number 3, 7 plus 7, or 2 times 7 was 14. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 8, or 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, so really multiplying is just repeated adding of a same number. And so, that was skills maintenance. Objective for today, analyze the components of algebraic expressions and represent word problems using those expressions as well. So, up to this point, we've been simplifying numeric expressions, okay, using our PEMDAS, okay, parentheses, exponents, multiplying, dividing, adding, and subtracting. Okay, now, moving forward with this lesson, we're going to introduce it. Next couple lessons, we will start simplifying algebraic expressions. Okay, so now, with our numeric expressions, when we started adding positive and negative values, we always used a yellow square to help represent a positive one. Okay, we use the red square to represent negative numbers. And now, when we start talking about algebraic expressions, we're going to use rectangles to help us represent the variables. Okay, so a green rectangle is going to represent a positive variable term, and a red rectangle is going to represent a negative variable term. Okay, so in this one, first example, c plus 2. Okay, c is positive, so that's why we used a green rectangle to represent it. And then plus 2, so positive 2, which we had those 2 yellow squares. So on the next one that we're going to do, we got c plus negative 3. Okay, a positive c, which is a positive variable, so we're going to use a green rectangle for that one. Plus negative 3, and again, those negative values, negative numbers, we represent with red squares. So for this one, that is what the algebra tiles would look like for the expression c plus negative 3. And we'll see that here as well. Okay, so now one thing we need to look at is sometimes we have multiple variables. Okay, so what we're going to start seeing is things like 3m. Okay, what 3m is really saying is 3 times m. Okay, so we have 3 of those variables. Now, and then plus that 1. So the way we're going to represent that with our algebra tiles, okay, 3m. Okay, so we have variables. So we use the green rectangles since they're positive, and we have 3 of them, plus that positive 1. Okay, now, being able to do these, write them out with your algebra tiles, is going to help us simplify and get a better visual to simplify. Okay, so now with that 3m, okay, some definitions for this. We know what variable is. It's a letter that's representing something that varies, a number, right? Now that number that's going to go in front of the variable, we call that the coefficient. Okay, so we're going to refer to that term quite a bit. So know that the number in front of the variable is the coefficient. Okay, so find the implied coefficient. Now, in these cases, okay, again, the coefficient is the number in front of the variable. Now, if we look here, x plus -2, okay, we don't see a number in front of the variable. But when that is the case, we imply that it's 1. Okay, so whenever you don't see a number in front of the variable, it will be 1. And in this case, it was green, so it was positive. Now, if we go down to here, you'll notice that it's a red. Okay, so in that case, you'll see a negative in front of the x, and that implied coefficient is -1. So again, if you don't see that coefficient in front of the variable, you imply that it's 1 or -1, depending on the situation. Okay, so now we're going to start using these coefficients when we start to look at word problems. Okay, so there's some common word phrases that use these coefficients. Okay, so when someone says double, okay, when you double something, that means you're timesing it by 2. Okay, so in this case, your coefficient is 2. Another way to say that is twice as much. Whenever I say twice as much, you're taking 2 times whatever that variable is. Triple, that's saying 3 times, so your coefficient is 3. Okay, 4 times as many, that's a case where your coefficient is 4 times that variable. 10 times the number, that coefficient is 10, and then you can fill in all the gaps there as well. Okay, 5 times as many, 6 times as many. Whatever that phrase is saying, it's that number times the variable. And again, when you write it, you don't write the time symbol in between, you just write it as a coefficient of 10w, like in this case. Okay, there's no multiplication. You need to understand that when they're right next to each other, a coefficient with the variable, it is saying multiplication. All right, so one of the problems we're going to look at. Marcus earns double his regular pay plus a bonus of $20 for working on a holiday. What expression represents his holiday pay? Now, they have defined the variable as x is the Marcus's regular pay, and what the important part about this is double his regular pay. So that's saying when it's double his regular pay, again, double was 2 times. So in this case, 2 times his pay, which we represented with x, plus he got that bonus of $20. That $20 isn't going to change, so we're not going to multiply. We have to add that value to our double his regular pay. So that is our expression for this sentence. Okay, plus a bonus of 20, like you said, that's where we got the plus 20. Okay, Kat feeds her Doberman triple what she feeds. Okay, so again, there's the important part. There's our coefficient, triple. Triple is meaning 3. Okay, what she feeds her Chihuahua. She also gives her Doberman 1 additional scoop of food. Okay, so let's start with the triple. Again, we said triple was 3 times whatever it was. In this case was x was for the scoops of food, plus an additional 1. Okay, so 3 times as much, plus 1 extra scoop on top of that. Okay, so that is our expression for that sentence. 3x plus 1. Okay, Willie's dad is 4 times as old as Willie. Write an expression that represents Willie's dad's age. X is Willie's age in years. Okay, so 4 times right there. That's probably pretty important. 4 times what? As old as Willie, and Willie is represented with x. So in this case, 4x. We didn't have anything plus another year, plus another 2 years. So in this case, if it's just 4 times as old, it's 4 times whatever the variable is. Like in this case, was Willie's age. Okay, so apply skills, page 205, 206. Go ahead, give those a try, and pause the video. Okay, so for this one, you were writing the expression given the algebra tiles. Now, in these cases, what we're going to see from the model here that the light shaded ones, that's positive. And again, it was a rectangle, so that's representing a variable. Okay, and the black ones, that's representing negative. Okay, so just to help us here, positive, negative, those ones will be positive, negative, negative, positive, 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 negative, and negative. Okay, so then again, on number 1, it's a rectangle, so that is representing a variable. And let's go ahead, let's just use x for our variable. And we had one rectangle, so that's 1x. And again, we don't need to write the 1. If you don't write a number in front, it's implied that it's 1. Okay, plus we have 4 squares that are black, so plus -4. Number 2 then, again, the rectangles are positive, so positive variable. And we have 2 of them, so 2x. And then plus 1 black square, which is -1. Number 3, we're going to have negative, and we have 2 rectangles. And again, that's representing a variable, so x plus 2 positive, so plus 2. Number 4 there, they're both positive. 1 rectangle, so 1x plus 2 squares, so x plus 2 in that case. On number 5 then, black rectangles, and we only have 1 of them, so we're going to write -x. And again, we do not need to write -1 because we imply that it's -1. Plus 3 squares, which are black, so plus -3. Okay. So, second part of apply skills then, taking those sentences and writing a expression for them. So in this one, Trudy has 4 times as many video games as Sally, plus 3 more. Okay, so the important part on this one, 4 times as many video games. In this case, x is representing those video games. So 4 times as many of those games plus 3 more. So we got to add 3 onto the back of that expression. Now, number 2, the number of touchdowns Marshawn made last year was triple the number Russell made. Okay, so the important part there, triple. So in that case, 3 times the number of touchdowns Russell scored, which is x, so 3x, and then plus 1 more, so plus 1. Okay, number 3, Elizabeth received double the number of votes for her class president as Richard, plus 35 votes. So right there, that's the important information here. Double, which is saying 2 times the number of votes, which is represented with x, so 2x, plus 35 more votes, so plus that 35. Number 4 then, finally, Manuel makes twice as much money, so that's probably important there, at his job per week as Jose, plus $20 per week for being in charge of cleaning the break room. Let x equal how much Jose makes per week. Write an expression that shows how much Manuel makes. Twice as much, so again, 2 times that variable, which in this case is the money, okay, plus that $20 extra per week. So there are our expressions. Again, when it comes down to these, it's important to just identify the word that tells us to multiply by the variable. 4 times, triple, double, twice. And again, double and twice represent the same thing, just in a different way. All right, so that was lesson 6. Your homework is lesson 6. Oh, one more, there we go. Okay, so again, writing the expression with the algebra tiles that are given. In these cases, the white ones are positive. Okay, green in those cases are negative. Okay, activity 2, matching. Okay, A, B, C, D into 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, activity 3, write the expression for those sentences. And then finally, your distributed practice for activity 4. If you have questions, make sure to let me know. Otherwise, have a good day.